Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is a video that I've been prepping to make for quite a while, and because of the new Stevie Williams OG re-release, reboot, nostalgia, whatever type of release you would like to call it, that shoe kind of really inspired why I'm going to put out this video now. I've been wanting to do it for quite some time, but just seeing how the shoe market has played into becoming these days, with a lot of the shoes either being rebooted from back in the 90s, the 2000s, and a lot of shoes from today's catalogs that are supposed to be new shoes a lot of them are recycled silhouettes. They are slight remakes of a model that was seen not too long ago, or is now the Volk version of a cup, or cup version of a Volk, or it's too much the same thing. And looking at a lot of companies, especially more of the core companies, that's what is kind of missing from a lot of them, is more of an identity. Everyone's starting to kind of copy a copy of a copy of an original that worked for that one company, but that doesn't guarantee success for the rest of them. And so what I've actually done is I've done and taken a lot of notes. I have a lot of different models on here from multiple different companies, and some of them I might split this video into two videos depending on how long it really goes. Recording this right now, I have no idea what to actually expect for how long it's going to be, so we'll just see on that end. But there's going to be two categories I'm going to go over, which is the nostalgia and the reboot of previous released models, or models inspired by shoes from the past, kind of between 10 to 15 years ago. And then also there's going to be another category where it's just recycled silhouettes. So it's going to be, you're going to see the same shoe or something very similar to it, or something that was already out, they just tweaked one minor little detail and now it's a new model. And again, it's for companies that have outside influence, that are not more core and their market is mostly just to skateboarding, the ones that can branch off into different extreme sports, or to fitness, or to, you know, ball and grass sports, or whatever the case is. Those companies and those type of silhouettes you're not going to see needing to be recycled. The ones that, when it comes to a brand that doesn't have an identity, you're going to see a lot of recycled silhouettes as far as the new catalogs that have been coming out in the last couple of years. And I'm a Slap forum member as well, and I only go to the new upcoming shoe releases one mostly. But for me, looking at those catalogs that they post every now and then, especially, you know, the ones that are more exciting are like the spring, the summer releases. Sometimes fall has some new shoes, but mostly, you know, spring and summer when people are most actively out skateboarding, there's going to be a lot of great releases, supposed to be new models coming out. And again, a lot of this is a lot of recycled materials. And so I'm going to go over some notes, and this is going to be kind of a controversial video as well, more of a discussion, if we can have that in the comments, of what you feel is, you know, the reason for this. If you agree, disagree, couldn't care either way. But with a lot of companies that had gone under that are now back, some companies live off of their nostalgia and their heritage within their brand, which works for them. Some companies stick with the very plain, and they don't have anything super tech. They just keep it very simple type of designs, and that works for them. Some companies try to copy everything that they see around them, and it makes it to where, unfortunately, they fall short and possibly go out of business. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into this real quick and see what you guys think of at the end. So first category we're going to start with is nostalgia.
Alright, so we're going to start off with a brand that I feel is doing very, very well in playing the nostalgia and heritage aspect of keeping a good product line for skate shoes. this is a brand that right now is really hitting home with bringing back the retro style, the retro looks, and even just the retro shoes that we older generation of skaters from 30 years and up have enjoyed when we were kids and now are getting a resurgence of now that we're adults. It's a good brand that when you look at the shoe, it's like, I remember back when, and it makes you want to go and buy a pair. Again, it's subjective to each person, but for the most part, a lot of us that see these shoes now, it gives us a good nostalgia hit for wanting to actually go and get a pair to kind of relive the years that we used to wear shoes like this. So I'm going to start with S because I love Soltech myself, and it has always been a little bit ahead of the curve for technology aspect of Soltech. I feel the more ruggedness comes from America, but when it comes to technology and looking more like a futuristic type of shoe, S was always kind of ahead of the curve in that one. So we have 4 examples on the screen right here: the S-Silo, the Symbol, the Swift 1.5, and the Tribo. All of these you can see how they played into shoes from back in the day and have been also very minimally modernized to fit the aspects of what skaters demand today. The Swift 1.5 is more just a kind of a nod to the Muska shoe, and then the Tribo is an entirely other shoe that we'll dig into right now, because for me, I just need to talk about it real quick so we can just get out of the way. Kind of going off what I just said, I don't want to sound super contradicting, but when it comes to playing off of a style of shoe that we grew up loving, and then you modernize it too much, or you try to make it to where, when it comes to copywriting, if you tweak enough things, it could still look close to the original and then be called something new. But in this case, bring back the original or just don't bring it back at all. Because if the Costin 3 never existed, the Tribo could be an awesome shoe. I mean, minus this little booger stain thing on the toe. But other than that, the shoe actually could be really awesome. But it looks like the Costin 3, but it's nothing like the Costin 3. So this is one of those, kind of contradicting what I said just a slide ago, but if you're going to remake something or you're going to bring something back, keep it original or just don't bring it back at all. And this is one of the ones where that it was a miss. It had the Costin 3. If you just never even made that and you bring back, or you have the Tribo coming into the line, that could be a great shoe. But this is just an unfortunate miss. It looks cool, but again, it's like the Costin 3 without being the Costin 3, and I don't like that. So going on a more positive note, though, the Excel line has been staying very true and faithful to how the original Excels look, how they feel, and the comfort when it comes to wearing them, and also just how they keep the time of back in the day when this was one of the more popular shoes, not even just as a team shoe, but just one of the more popular shoes that you would see people in between brands would wear. If you want to play towards people's memories of when they used to skate and they're trying to get back in, or they just want to have the feel of what it was like before, it's very important to keep the original shoe in the line. And making it into slim, wearing it myself, probably my best clip for anything relevant to the last couple of years and just the battle that ensued. I actually got it in a pair of Excel Slims. I'll link that video part in the description for it's my switch off part I just put out a couple months ago. Anyway, the Excel Slim is a great new remodeled version of the Excel, and being that it has no midsole, it's got amazing board feel. Despite that, you do feel quite a bit when it comes to anything really impactful. You just need to throw in some aftermarket insoles. And then keeping the play on the Excel and the Square 1 that they had before, they had the Square 3, and it's just a one-piece toe version, bulk version of the original Square 1. So great shoes overall. Again, kind of a good example of playing to nostalgia while still being relevant. And so for the next slide, we have the contract. This is another good example of keeping it rebooted as far as everything but the sole. And I believe the main reason that they didn't want to go with the original sole is because the type of sole that they had on the original contract, a lot of people thought it was a really big ankle roller. Having a pair of etnies that had the same kind of sole, I never rolled my ankles. I never felt unsturdy while skating them, and I jumped down a lot of things with them, and I wish I knew what the shoe was called. I forgot it, but it was felt very supportive and very comfortable skating in. And the contract, they keep the same lining in the shoe. They made the toe a little bit more pointed. The vamp of the shoe is a little bit slimmer, but overall it's got the same look, the same lining, and the heel of it, when it comes to the support, is supposed to be the new foam that S is using. I believe it's the Evolution foam. If not, correct me in the comments. So for the next one, we have the scheme. So this one really is probably one of the best examples of playing to the exact model that it was before. Maybe slight little tweaks here and there. It's the same molding, but you see in the sole you have the separation of the different materials on the outsole, then you have the sole itself, whereas down here it's all just one solid piece going all the way around, and you still have the separation for the sole from the actual grip of the sole. So the outsole is still there, and you can see the lining is very similar, if not the same, except for now you don't have an air bubble right here. So that's where you get the extra lines right here, whereas on the original scheme you have the air bubble and then you have the lining going around it, and you have a little bit of a difference in the heel, but overall, looking at the models side by side, it is pretty much the same type of shoe that you got back in the day to now what you can actually wear, and you can still get that same nostalgia feel that you would expect from S. Next one is going to be the DC Lynx. It's not called the Slim, but that's what a lot of people are referring it to because it was the slimmed down version of the Lynx OG. Now, DC is another great brand that plays to the nostalgia aspect of shoes, and the fact that despite it taking many years to do so, they now have the original Lynx in the lineup, and they, from what it looks like, all the collaborations that they're doing with the shoe, with all the colors that they're starting to come out with the shoe, they're going to keep the shoe in the Heritage line for an indefinite amount of time. Most likely, especially because the people that really do like the shoe, it's kind of a 50-50 on people that actually do wear it to skate and then people that just wear them and collect them as well. So this is a good example again that they're, now that they actually have in the line, they're playing to the exact look of what the original Lynx was like back in the 2000s, and they did remake it to a slimmed down version where it was just no paneling, it was seamless, it just had a lot of deco stitching. So for anybody that doesn't know, that just means decorative stitching. So it's to make it look like there's different layers or different paneling, but it's strictly just for decoration. It's not for any function really at all. Maybe color popping, and as in this case you see the thermothane toe to make it look like the original Lynx, but other than that there's no real difference to it. And so you have on the sole the Lynx Slim. It doesn't really have the runner toe aspect. It has the look of it because you see the color pop in the red where the sole is right in the toe, but on the original Lynx you have the toe that goes all the way up. So again, another brand that's really good with heritage, keeping the original Lynx in the line. Tried the Lynx Slim. It worked for a little bit. Saw a lot of the team members wearing it, not really a lot of people outside of that wearing it. Overall, DC Lynx Slim, it was a good shoe. I wore it a couple times. It felt great, very comfortable. It was quite thin in the sole, actually, for a cup sole, but overall, you can't replace an original, and I'm glad to see the Lynx back in the lineup. Now we have the DC Legacy OG versus the DC Legacy Slim. So another example of keeping an OG shoe in the lineup, and because you have in the lineup, you can make alterations and make it more modernized for the people that don't like a super bulky shoe, that don't like having something that to a lot of people arguably would feel like a brick on your foot. You can slim it down and still keep the paneling very similar, if not the same, and get the feel of the original and represent it in a very respectful way. And I believe the DC Legacy Slim did a very good job with that, and especially with how people skate their shoes today, it is a little bit of a slimmer vamp than you would expect for the original Legacy OG that you see on the left. But overall, it hits to the nostalgia aspect very, very well, and it looks almost dead on to the original with a few modernized tweaks. It doesn't have the hidden lace loop system that the original does. You have the DC Legacy OG in the lineup, and you have a secondary option for the Slim as well. So another brand playing very well to the nostalgia aspect. And so what this has really been influenced by to make this video is the re-release of the DC Stevie Williams, and with that they're going to be releasing a slim version of the DC Stevie Williams. This is one of the shoes where I believe if you just kept it as the original Stevie, that would be great for the brand. And this shoe slimmed doesn't really play too well to it, because looking at them side by side, it's not really a shoe that you could really expect and see looking good slimmed down, because when it comes to slimming the shoe down, you're not really slimming the sole of it, you're slimming the upper. So looking at the soles, how you can tell them apart is, one, the color pop right here on the side of the outsole, right here, it's all one solid piece. The lining goes down and then towards the back, on the back of the heel, and then on the Slim, it just only goes down towards the grip on the sole. And with this shoe, you still have the bulkiness over the toes, but the vamp for the rest of the shoe starts to slim down. And so they take away a lot of the padding right around the collar. They take away a lot of the padding around the heel, where it has the heel lock for you. But other than that, it's just too high of a vamp in the front. And for me, having just, again, the original DC Stevie in the lineup plays very well to nostalgia, but them trying to slim it down would be a great option. But I think this is just one of those shoes where it's not meant to be slimmed. It doesn't look as good as it could have been. And again, the vamp in the toe kind of just ruins the look of it, for me at least. Again, everybody has their opinions, but just the fact that they're even bringing the Stevie Williams first, the original one first, and then next couple months they're going to be releasing the slim version, giving good options for those that want to skate an amazing classic shoe but don't want to have the feel of the early 2000s. They want to have the modernized type of sole and feel for their skating. So next we have the Vans Rally Pro versus the Vans Rally Classic. So Vans Rally Pro is what was originally released for his Pro model shoe, and you have the new modernized Rally Classic. So the main real differences from what it looks like in the pictures, I haven't actually gone to see the Rally Classic in person, but the main thing that I see for the differences in the shoe, and from a lot of people who have actually worn the Rally Classic versus the Rally Pro, the Rally Classic is only just very minimally narrower than the Rally Pro, and also the foxing tape on the sole of the Rally Classic is a little bit thicker. Looking at the shoes, you can see where the side paneling for the ollie area goes into the sole over here. It is a lot easier to see through versus you see on the new Classic shoe. It is a little bit harder to see, but also could just be the angle of the shoe that is making that easier or harder to spot. Other than that, they're now keeping the Rally Classic in the lineup as part of their heritage lineup, just like they're doing with the Vans Half Cab, and they're keeping this just a staple because it is such a staple of the brand. It was a shoe that really pushed for exactly what Rally wanted, and he fought very, very hard for the details of the shoe, especially keeping it a vulcanized shoe and keeping the side stripe, which back then was a huge deal, and now looking into the lineup of shoes you see today has become something that you see in almost every single model, especially the Pro models. So, but again, Aesthetically, it is a good tribute to the Rally Pro, Rally Classic. It is the same look. They can have new materials in it to make it a little more comfortable or a little bit lighter, but the shoe is the exact same thing. So, and for any of you guys that are thinking about this red stripe, and if that is kind of a deal breaker for you, for the people who've already worn it, they set it out a session or two, that just completely comes off. So you don't have to worry about having that on your shoe for very long. So, but that's going to conclude the nostalgia aspect of this video. And the next thing we're going to be going into is the recycled, reused, and just play it safe type of models of shoes.